So today I am at the amazing Thyme with founder and creative director Caryn Hibbert, the founder of Thyme, but also Bertioli, and I'm here to pick her brains about breath work and breathing and about mental and physical well-being with the use of one particular product that I am passionate about, and I know you are, your breathing balm.
Yes.
So thank you for joining me this morning.
Lovely to see you, because I know you do classes here as well, don't you?
I am very lucky to do
Yes,
some
which
wonderful
we
classes,
love.
yeah, and some sound healing and breath
Sound
work.
healing and breath work.
So hopefully we'll be doing lots more of that.
Yeah.
So my first question to you, Caryn,
Yes.
is what is your philosophy on wellness?
Well, I think I'm a very busy person and I'm not very good at focusing myself. But the thing that I enjoy most and definitely gives me most pleasure, and I'm sure affects my well-being, is being outside. So spending as much time outside as I can, going for lovely long walks and walking the dogs, gardening. Those are the things that I love.
Yeah. And you try and get outside as much as possible. Is that a daily?
Every day. And my particularly favourite time of day is early. If I can get up and out before or as the sun is rising, actually that is the most wonderful time of day. It's quiet and you get that wonderful low light. You often have the sort of all the mist and the dew, and actually a lot of wildlife around. Quite incredible. They know when we come out.
And also it sets your sort of circadian rhythm for the rest of the day,
Exactly.
and it helps with your whole
Exactly.
sleep cycle as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm quite early to bed and early to rise.
Me too.
Good in the mornings.
Yeah.
Lots of good at night.
So much more energy in the morning.
Yeah.
I feel the same.
That's right.
And tell us about Bertioli. So how did Bertioli start?
Well, we created Thyme. Obviously, that is something that, as a place, has evolved over the last 20 years, really. And now we wanted to colour it in, I would say. And when I was creating the spa here, I wanted to create a philosophy and treatments there that were really right for here as a place. And I've always been very aware of the power of taking a deep breath work. Really starting out when I was working as an obstetrician and gynecologist in medicine, particularly talking and working with women at some of the most stressful times of their life, which is giving birth, or actually coming in for an operation or a treatment, but particularly on the labour ward, women that had learnt to breathe well, because it is a text used by midwives. They're taught how to use their breath to really control pain to a point, but it's more about how they learn to manage themselves. It gives you a certain sort of power and focus that allows you to really be in control. And that was something that always impressed me. And I knew as a doctor that actually taking a deep breath actually affects your physiology. It alters your heart rate, it alters your blood pressure, it changes the way that your blood flows around your body. And understanding that was something that I thought could be very powerful. Actually now breathwork has become very popular, and rightfully so. And I wanted to create something that, as I said, was right for the experience here. Thyme is all about slowing down, taking a little bit of time, taking a deep breath. And on one of my walks, I was struck particularly by walking through the meadows. The air was filled with the fresh wind, the water wind that grows in abundance by the water meadows. And it automatically made you want to take that deep breath. And so I decided that we would create a breathing balm, which was something that would actually augment the power of breath. So combined the healing power of breath and scent in a little pot. and that was really when I decided that was going to be the philosophy of our spa. Nature, scent, and breath.
Yeah. And like we were saying earlier about our senses and how the scent and the smell is one of the most powerful. It sort of takes us away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or takes us to that happy place.
Yeah. Well, the thing about scent is it's very closely linked with memory and emotion, and it actually has the ability to affect our nervous system without us really thinking about it, without the need for conscious thought. And as long as the scent is something that you associate with a happy place and happy moments, you know, we can learn that just smelling that smell will make us feel better. So the idea of having a scent of nature that was from a wild space, it's 100% natural, and it's important with scent in particular. You know, often we have our favourite scents, and you can wear too much scent. You want just a little fleeting moment of a Chanel No. 5. You don't want to sort of inhale it all the time. The important thing about the scent in the breathing bar was that it was something you really wanted more of, and that it was actually a healing scent.
Yeah.
And because it's basically a blend of essential oils, but its lead note is the wild mint. It actually is a healing scent. It's antimicrobial. It actually has an active ingredient in it, which is menthol, which gives you the cooling effect, so you can actually feel that sort of going through your airways as you take a deep breath. And that actually provides a focus on the breath, so that if you are doing some breath work, you can really feel the air moving into your lungs. So, you know, that was really rather wonderful, actually. The more it all sort of came together, that it was scent that came from a place that I love, which is full of nature.
And a natural product that goes with, you know, that's come from that nature. Because there's so many products these days that we're using on our skin and that isn't natural. And I think it's so important to try and go back to that sort of complete pure.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing is that, you know, it absolutely, if I like to sort of tell stories about the wild places, because, you know, actually, because it is a scent that comes from a very special place, you know, telling stories and thinking about the place, and people visiting here can actually see all our wonderful wildlife that we have down there. You know, learning to love nature and feel that little bit closer to it is also important. It's important to me that we actually are reminded how important nature is.
Actually, we can hold our breath if we don't think about it.
We do.
So we're teaching people to breathe and to reconnect with nature, which is the world we live in at the moment is going so the opposite way. So we're trying to bring them back to this.
That's the lovely thing about scent. You know, if you've got a little pot of breathing balm in your pocket, it will remind you to take that. You know, actually, we often do need a prompt, because unless you're aware that you're grinding your teeth, your shoulders are all bunched up and you're breathing high in your chest, which is what we are, which we do all the time. You know, if we're driving on the school run and we're late, you know, you're going to be you're going to be revved up, and actually just being conscious of that and learning how to just in a few deep breaths, you'll just reset yourself is incredibly powerful.
Yeah, so powerful. And I think the practicing of the habits is really important. And because a few years ago, I was really trying to practice to be present, and I kept forgetting to be in that present moment. So I wrote myself little post-it notes where my kettle is, so that every time I boil my kettle, it says "be present," so that it's a reminder for me. And it's exactly the same with I have your balm in my bag. So every time I go into my bag, I see the breathing balm, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to put a little bit on my wrist and take a breath, and it's just that. And then eventually it becomes a sort of natural habit that you don't even have to think about.
And you know what? It does work.
It does work.
It does work. I mean, it really does work. I mean, everything that we talk about is absolutely based in science and understanding, you know, how our bodies work. and understanding that actually just following a short ritual really does reset your nervous system is an incredibly powerful tool for life. And the great thing, you can do it anytime, anytime, any place, anywhere.
Yeah.
By your desk, children before a school exam, just teaching them how to take that moment and just create a little bit of stillness and focus.
Yeah.
You know, we can then learn how to use that focus well into whatever you want to do. Well, actually, the great thing about mint is it is an essential oil that actually can speed you up. It's invigorating, but it also is very calming. So
you can use it any time of the
use
day.
it anytime. If you want to use it for a sleep point of view, you absolutely can. Or one to sort of really get going in the morning.
So from your background, Caryn, can you just explain to me and our viewers why we need to breathe and why is breathing so important? And nowadays we know that a lot of people sort of don't breathe enough, and they are in quite a stressed, chronic, stressful situation in their life, physical and mental. And how can breathing be, or why do we need to breathe?
Yeah. Well, the thing about breathing is that it is the one system, vital system that we have, that we directly control. Our bodies are controlled by the autonomic nervous system. We're not thinking on a day-to-day basis about how fast our heart beats, what our blood pressure is, where our blood flow is flowing in our body. And that is because a balance is kept by the autonomic nervous system in response to the environment around us. And it has two main settings. It has an on switch, which speeds us up, and an off switch that slows us down. And the two extremes of that are the fight or flight, which is the sympathetic, we see a tiger, and really understanding how if we do see something really scary, we don't think about, get ready to fight. It does it automatically. And so the extreme fight or flight is really your eyes widen up, you get ready for a fight, you tense all your muscles, your heart starts racing, you start breathing rapidly in the top of your chest. Your muscles are all tense, you're ready for a fight, and you're ready to run. So your body actually changes the way it pumps the blood around the body. It's really pumping all your blood to your exterior muscles so that you're ready to run. And when you're scared, your mouth goes dry. That's something you really notice. And that so clearly illustrates that all of the blood has come away from the gut and gone to your peripheral muscles. And it also explains very clearly why, when you're stressed, your gut stops working so well, which is absolutely what happens. Why irritable bowel is very closely linked with stress, and also actually on the reverse side, if you can switch that off and your blood starts to go through your gastrointestinal tract, how that is so healing. It improves not just your gut health but also the immunity.
So this is the mini breathing bar, and I have this in my bag, and I often tell my clients or my friends to have one in their bag as well. If your advice would be to someone that works in a very stressful job in London, or a child about to go into an exam, can you just give us a little ritual of how they might be able to use the balm and breathe with the balm?
Yeah, no, I'd love to. First of all, start by creating calm and stillness in your upper body. Relaxing your shoulders, pulling shoulders down and back and opening up your chest and creating this complete stillness.
You sound like a Pilates teacher.
It's exactly what you're doing. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But then if you've created that stillness and you take the deep breath, being very conscious that you keep this upper chest completely still, you will automatically breathe using your tummy. Consciously just closing your eyes, relaxing your jaw. Really, posture is very important. So bringing your shoulders down, actually slightly pulling back. You can actually slightly stretch out the neck, potentially the neck, and then just really think about that complete stillness of the body, and then take a deep breath. So if you take that deep breath, ensure you keep stillness here, you'll automatically be breathing with your diaphragm. And actually, if you place your hands just at the top of your tummy, because you'll feel as you breathe in, your tummy moving out. I would say to start off with, count slowly to the count of 4 as you breathe in. Then you want the exhale to be just slightly longer, so perhaps to breathe out to the count of 5. And just establish a rhythm, slowly breathing in.
It's amazing. It almost gives you tingles through your body when you're in that complete. Just 2 breaths just made me feel totally.
Just a few breaths make a difference. I mean, often people in box breathing and things, they say hold your breath, but I don't like that, because holding breath is something we do when we're anxious. I think this is all about doing it at your pace, and how you feel comfortable. And
The awareness.
and awareness. And so just establish that breathing, and then we use the scent. So then we put the breathing bar on.
Yeah.
And the thing is to put the breathing bar, take a good bit of it, and you can put it on your wrists, on your chest, perhaps on your temples, and probably got rubbed in, doesn't really matter. And just as that warms, it will really fill the air around it. But also, actually, movement can be quite helpful with the breathing. So if you bring your wrists up and breathe in to the count of 4, and then slowly breathe out, opening up your chest. And just again, take a few and feel the essential oils really with the mint. Feel it into your spiritual, and that really allows you to focus on your breath. And then the last bit of the ritual is really to use that scent as a focus for the mind, and really transport you to a happy place. Now, we've obviously said my happy place is the meadows. That's where it is in this for me, in where this scent has come from. But if you prefer to make it somewhere else, that's absolutely fine. But you need to have somewhere where you want to stay, and you need to make sure your mind stays there and it's not distracted off into places that are more worrisome.
Yeah.
Because really having focus for the mind is also super important. So creating a happy place and keeping your mind there while you take a few deep breaths, continue to focus and stay there. And then you should get to a point where you begin to think, right, what do I want to achieve with that focus? Do you want to get on with your meeting perhaps, and you can go in to your meeting much more in control, much more focused, much more calm? Or do you want to actually go to sleep? And actually, I think, you can use this in the middle of the night. I mean, actually, funnily enough, when I use it a lot, is if I wake up in the middle of the night, I do the slow, deep breathing with the breathing bar, imagining myself being fast asleep somewhere like
And then eventually you drift off.
as well.
Yeah,
So that's really like.
So it's so fascinating to sort of link it to Pilates, because Pilates, the breathing pattern in Pilates is the main basic principle of Pilates. And when we teach the breath work, you're breathing as a kind of 3-dimensional breath. So instead of breathing into the belly,
Yes,
we're actually breathing into the kind of lower lobes of the lung.
absolutely.
And then, so that's your breath in, and you're trying to kind of expand and lengthen as you breathe in. But then the exhale is more of the sort of the tightening of the transversus abdominis around your sort of lumbar region. And so it's a beautiful connect, and I teach sound healing and breath work with sort of sometimes together with the Pilates, because when I'm doing the breath work, it's more in the belly. So you're trying to relax the abdominal muscles, but then when we're doing Pilates, it's more of the the tightening of the muscles. And like we were saying, life is about balance, and Pilates is about physical balance, learning to stand on one leg, but also that balance of strengthening muscles, but also we need to relax. And I love what you say about being transported to nature, and I know you are very passionate about nature. I am a farmer's daughter, grown up, and my one thing that I have to do every day is go for a walk. I actually love going in the woods because I just love being amongst the trees.
Well, I think woods also,
they're
super.
Well, for me, they're very calming, but it helps me connect, I think, spiritually, sort of, to, I often think about people that have died in my life when I'm in the woods, and they've got this amazing connection to the trees. How do you feel that we are part of nature? How do you connect with nature? How, in terms of your mental headspace?
Well, I think because I love it so much, and I love watching for the small things, the small changes, that we're very lucky to live in a very beautiful part of the world where we have 4 very distinct seasons, and watching how nature changes as we move around the sun and the earth starts tipping towards the sun as we go, as it moves around, is something that I am so in tune to. And one of the things that is particularly amazing, I think, is in our water meadows, the thing that really brought it home to me, how important it is that we look after wild spaces and nature, because it is very threatened by just rising human population. Loss of habitat is one of the most important threats to nature. It illustrates how important it is that for us to keep that there for them.
And also, I just think learning from these wonderful animals, like they are so in tune with the seasons. In the winter, they tend to hibernate a bit more, whereas humans, we're always, partying in the winter, when actually, or, going out late or eating raw foods, and we're not actually really.
It's tough out there. It's tough out there for them.
Tough out there, but they're very clever. They work it out. And we're kind of fighting against the seasons, whereas actually, that's why I love sort of Ayurvedic health, because it's all about, in the winter, we need to, stay indoors a bit more, and maybe, or not stay indoors a bit more, but maybe have earlier nights, and eat warm, nourishing foods, and instead of fighting it. But for me as well, seasonal eating is really important. Is that something that you are passionate about, and have you brought that into Thyme and to your restaurant at the Oxford?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I love food too, a bit too much. And seasonality and actually local, homegrown, just beautiful produce has always been a passion. We've always grown our own food, and actually when we opened the restaurant here, back to the early days of the Swan, which we've owned for nearly 20 years now. Having our vegetable gardens here was really part of the ethos of any food that we served. And over the years, the vegetable gardens have really sort of grown. And I think, again, talking about seasonality, we are looking here because we have such marked difference between the seasons. This very clear journey of how different foods throughout the year. And I think if we are eating fresh as possible, fresh vegetables have much more nutrition than vegetables that have sat around for a long time. I hate plastic. I can't bring myself to buy anything that is in a packet, really. I wish we had more markets and things where people could go and buy food that was displayed.
Because even with organic food now, if you buy it from the supermarket, it's all wrapped in plastic because they have to keep it, so otherwise it's contaminated with the non-organic. So
there's nothing better than just being able, obviously everybody can't do that, but I think if you can buy locally as possible, fresh vegetables that are in season, English grown, you're doing a very, that's probably the main thing that you can do. And to a point, everything in moderation. As I said, I'm I'm
It's all about balance.
I love
It's
a
all about
martini.
balance. So what if you're at home with your family, your wonderful family, and you're having a lovely sort of May supper? What would you cook?
In May.
Or let's say May, yeah. I'm thinking that's my
May.
favorite, one of my favorite times of the year. I don't know what your
Yeah, no,
season is your favorite.
I love May as well.
Love
Well, it's
May.
quite, you've just got everything. May is quite a difficult month actually for the vegetable garden because
Yeah, it's not that.
we still get frosts to the end of May. And you're certainly going to have asparagus, which is absolutely a lovely thing.
Yeah.
And we actually have polytunnels here, and this year we've been very, very successful with our polytunnels. And I'm sure in May we were harvesting bull beans, which is a lovely thing, lots of lettuce leaves. And actually this year we had a wonderful crop of potatoes. And I love potatoes actually as well.
Yeah, me too.
Potatoes
So
are a very, very healthy food. They're full of vitamin C.
they get a bad rep.
And protein.
Potatoes.
They do really.
It's because they're turned into fries
Yes.
or turn into.
Yeah.
But actually, I'm so with you.
Potatoes that have just been dug from the ground, they can be the star.
And did you teach your children when they were growing up how to cook?
I think we all love cooking. Millie is vegan, so we do eat a lot of vegetables.
Okay.
I am quite a carnivore. I so I always have plenty of vegetables, so that if we have anyone that and use a lot of olive oil actually.
And that's what you need. Some good veggies with some
rapeseed
olive oil.
oil,
Totally.
Yeah. And lots of vegetables, and then whoever's doesn't want to eat meat or the dairy, always got something.
Yeah.
Yes.
And my other question to you is, so for me, a morning ritual is both of us like to wake up early.
Yes,
So
yes.
I have two young kids, and it's always been very important for me to get up before them.
Yes.
So that I have my time
Yes.
to myself. 'Cause
Yes.
then I just think that I'm a better mum
Mhm.
if I get my routine done. And I love routine and I love rituals, and mornings for me is when I get all of those rituals in. Do you have a morning ritual that you love doing, or is there particular things that you
Well,
change?
I always have a cup of tea.
Okay.
So the first thing I do is get up,
Cup of tea.
make myself a cup of tea. But one of the things when we all have a little bit of a moment on our own, either in the morning is when we're getting up to bed, we're in the bathroom on our own. And actually that is a moment when I do take some deep breaths and really try and set myself up for the day.
And do you feel it helps, like, because you run an incredibly successful business, you are so involved in it, and you've got 3 children, you have so much going on in your life, and would you say that breath work is something that helps you in stress? Like, do you get stress? You seem a very calm person.
I think it's quite interesting actually. I mean, I look back on the journey that we've had, and I've had an awful lot of stress in it, and there have been moments where I probably haven't managed it as well as I should have done. But I think now, I know I don't have as stressful a life as I used to have. My daughter is the general manager here, and she's doing an absolutely brilliant job. Got a
She's
fantastic,
very busy, yeah.
I've got a fantastic team. My son is doing a brilliant job with food, so I'm not as involved on a day-to-day basis. So I can, have more time talking to you. I mean, I think it is something that I do. I absolutely know that taking just that moment to reset and take a deep breath really does work, and I totally, this is something, I mean, I'm incredibly proud of it, but I think it is something that actually really does work.
And every person that I use it on, because sometimes it's sort of my Shavasana chill, relax times after my classes, I use this, and I've never ever had someone say that they don't like the smell. They normally always say to me, what's that smell? Where do I get that from? So it really is something that for everybody, it's
surprising because it is so lovely, and I think because it is the wild mint, it's really gentle. It isn't obviously too minty. It is, as you say. I mean, it has got other things in it, but I think it is just a lovely, clean, it's everybody loves it.
I want to finish with asking you a question about what's next, or what are you allowed to say is next
What's next?
For either the bothy, the spa, the hotel. Is there anything in the pipeline that we're allowed to know about?
We're always planning and plotting, and I think it is more about colouring in. So I think there are more things to come in beauty, which I haven't spoken to you there. I think you'll like it. So there's something in the pipeline there, and of course, you know, my love of plants, and I paint, and we have all the fabrics and furnishings now. We've been decorating the bedrooms. I love creating things, so to be able to always have a bit of a project on, so really developing, you know, the fabrics, the interior side of the business as well is something that I love, which is great for me because you know I do got my creative hat on, which is what I like more.
So if you're giving our viewers one sort of bit of advice or guidance from all of your experiences, whether it's, you know, working in a very stressful job to owning an amazing place like this, is there one bit of advice that you could give to give people that might help in their life journey?
Well, I would say that, you know, often looking from the outside into anything, people look like they have perfect lives, but actually everybody has stress. And I think that really, you know, understanding that you're not on your own, if you're worried about something, to never feel worried about actually expressing that and sharing that, and learning. Everybody makes mistakes, learning from our mistakes, and actually perseverance. I think perseverance is incredibly important too. And if you are passionate about something and love it, have confidence that lots of other people are going to love it too. Some people might not, that's fine. But really have the courage of your convictions.
I love that. Well, you're an inspiration, Caryn, to me and to so many people, and you're doing wonderful things. So
you're pretty wonderful too.
Well, really lovely to chat. Yeah, I'll get you on that soon.